Stop treating this Nets pick that you got from Boston in the Kyrie deal like it's going to be the future salvation of your franchise after LeBron leaves, and use it to acquire a player that might make LeBron want to stay. They didn't do that. The Nets won some games down the stretch. They ended up not hitting lottery luck, so they have the 8th pick. What does this do to LeBron's future? Listen, LeBron's playing his last games in Cleveland this year. Now, whether those happen in the NBA Finals or whether those happen next week will be determined by how well they play against Boston in the final games remaining in this series. But I believe that even had the Cavs won the lottery again, gotten the #1 overall pick, that LeBron was not staying in Cleveland.
Because for you, it was all about whether they got to the final. He got to the finals.
Whether they won a championship. And I started feeling the last few months of the year, that even if they won a championship, he would be leaving. This roster doesn't have a great future. The situation in Cleveland's become toxic. It was never repaired with the owner. I see no reason LeBron would even entertain staying in Cleveland.
Yeah, he's got to entertain it because he's got too much going on off the court. He's doing too many things in Northeast Ohio. His family's from there. His kids are doing well there. So it is an option. Like, we can't forget the draw of Ohio on LeBron James. He's from Ohio, and that's the only reason why he came back. Now, he's already given them a championship. So Cleveland will always be in the picture. But I believed all along that he was going to leave. He can't compete for championships because that's what it's about with LeBron right now. He's going for his 8th consecutive trip to the finals. We haven't seen this type of success in our lifetime. LeBron James is going to try to win more championships, and he can't win them in Cleveland. He would love to be able to stay in Cleveland. And I believe he can get beyond what him and the owner, or the lack of relationship that he has with the owner, if he felt like that was the best chance for him to build his resume.
Every 4 months I ask you this, and it's about time, so I'm going to ask you again. If it's about championships for LeBron James, if that's the thing that he's chasing, and he's watching and he sees what Kevin Durant did, it's been floated out there. Any chance he goes to Golden State?
Listen, I heard Steven Jackson and Cris tell me yesterday that's the hardest thing to do, is to go play with great players. So, I mean, if he wants a challenge, evidently.
Right.
If you're a great player, it's harder to play with great players because there's less time for you to have the ball. All right? It's more of a sacrifice that you personally have to make offensively and defensively compared with bad players.
The sacrifice part I might agree with. The difficulty part, I think LeBron's got a harder job right now.
I have played so long that I'm just going to tell you, it's a lot harder.
So let me just ask you. So if LeBron, it would be more difficult for LeBron next season going to Golden State.
Going to Houston. Then say go to Houston.
Going to, then staying in Cleveland.
Yeah, because I think that's more realistic. Yes, because he has to sacrifice, and he's going to have the ball less. All right? If he joins Chris Paul and James Harden, he's going to have the ball less. Agreed. Now, what do you think is harder? Him without the ball or him scoring 40, 10, and 12?
I think LeBron right now has the hardest job of any NBA
You know
superstar.
how easy he went to that press conference last night? He said, hey, LeBron, how much you worrying about this? I mean, I did my best. I put my heart on the line. Like, I did my best. That part right there is a lot easier than standing in the corner when you have other talented players not being able to get the ball enough, not being able to have the type of impact on the game that you're used to.
Listen, maybe we're parsing words between difficulty and sacrifice. You would have to sacrifice your numbers as a pro basketball player if you go play with other great players. But Kevin Durant's job is easier in Golden State than it was in Oklahoma City. Steph Curry's job got easier when Kevin Durant got there than before Kevin Durant was there.
Yes, their job got easier, but it's harder on them. I keep saying on them, all right? Not their job, on them personally, all right?
Okay, so then that's why I was saying we're parsing. So that's so if you're talking about mentally the strain of it, the sacrifice, that part I understand. But then I was talking about the difficulty of the job. To your question, though, could he go to Golden State? I mean, I know like Kevin Durant can go to Golden State, and if you criticize him, you're being unfair to the player. But LeBron's not allowed to go to Golden State. Like, that's not my rules. But if LeBron went to Golden State, whatever the reaction to him going to Miami, put that on steroids, and it should be. LeBron's too great of a player to go say, okay, people wouldn't even count those championships for him. He can go to a lot of places. He can't go to Golden State.
It's a waste of space talking about LeBron going to Golden State. It's not in the cards. A lot of things can happen. Going to Golden State is not
one of them.
I mean, here's the deal. LeBron's not staying in Cleveland. depending on what you think is going to happen in the Eastern Conference Finals, you think LeBron's got anywhere between 2 and at most 12 games left as a Cleveland Cavalier. I believe that was set in stone well before this draft lottery came out, but maybe you could squint hard enough. If they hit the lottery and get the number 1 pick, could they flip that for Kawhi? Would that make LeBron want to stay? Like, could they use a top 3 pick to entice another star? Maybe then LeBron stays. But I don't think the relationship, in fact, I know the relationship with Dan Gilbert never got as good as it was reported by some that it had. And LeBron knows there is no path to being a championship, a favorite, maybe a championship contender because you have LeBron, but not a championship favorite with this roster moving forward, even if you bring in, Colin Sexton or Trae Young with the 8th overall pick.
No, those kids aren't. They're kids. The NBA, we're watching the playoffs. It's a grown man league. Besides the young players that we see for Boston, it's not something that we see. Younger players thriving in the postseason. LeBron, everything is about him in the postseason. I don't care what he does in the regular season. LeBron, how many more championships can he add to the 3 that he has? How many more finals appearances can he add? Can he add a MVP in the finals to his resume? Those are the things that are going to attract LeBron James. And the trades that they made, they did not acquire the type of assets. Oh, George Hill. Do I want to play with George Hill much longer? Don't think so. Rodney Hood, the one who didn't want to come into the last series in the game? I don't think so. Nance Jr., I don't think so. Those are the things that are going to force LeBron to leave Cleveland.
And obviously, some of the genesis of this is the Kyrie trade. And we now, and I was saying it then, I will say it now, turning down better offers of players that can help you right now because the Celtics offer included this Nets pick was foolish at the time, unless you were going to flip the Nets pick for help right now. The idea that, no, we have to keep this Nets pick because it's our contingency post-LeBron. You needed to look at the NBA landscape. You knew there were a half dozen teams this year that would be tanking. You also knew the Nets, while not very talented, would not be tanking because they didn't have their own pick. So you knew likely this was never going to be a top 3 pick, a guy like DeAndre Ayton or Marvin Bagley or Luka Doncic, who you think could be a franchise changer. They were planning for a contingency post-LeBron, for a future post-LeBron, when the franchise, when LeBron leaves, is going to be what it's been every year LeBron James not been on the team. Irrelevant. That's where they were. Maybe it'd be different had they gotten a better player for Kyrie instead of this draft pick. But that's the situation they've left themselves in.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.